everyone and welcome to Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Green on the screen today. You've got 248 point bump up on the Sensex, and as we speak the Nifty as well holding out firmly in green and around the 10,800 mark, although we've ebbed off from the high point of the trading day. Just pull up the graph of the Nifty for you as well. The broader end of the markets are pretty much following suit, with the mid-cap index looking a little flat, but the small cap index up 0.5%. Well, a whole host of stocks coming your way. We have our team of research analysts who are standing by. Kunal Botra and Sumit Bagadia are going to guide us on the technicals. 30 stocks coming your way. So let's start off with stock number 1, and a lot of those PSU banks are in focus, 7 of them to be precise, but Bank of India is certainly one of the key beneficiaries. What exactly is the Finance Ministry's plan, Movina?
Well, it's an ET Now exclusive at this point of time. Sources are suggesting to my colleague Ruchi Bhatia that 28,615 crore rupees, that's the sort of recapitalization funds that may be disbursed to as many as 7 PSU banks. Now, Bank of India is one of them. That's the reason why on the intraday chart you saw that sharp spike as well coming by in the stock price. It's in fact expected to get the highest recapitalization amount in the latest tranche, amounting to a little over 10,000 crore rupees. Do remember that there's a talk about banks getting out of the PCA framework, getting out of the PCA norms as well post this infusion. So that as well is going to give room for further leg up for some of these PSU banks. Bank of India, one of them.
All right, keep an eye out on a lot of these PSU banks. They are in focus in trade today. Meantime, let's move right on then from banks to autos, and it's Escorts that's catching Kunal's eye. Why do you believe it merits a buy at the current level, Kunal?
So the stock has gone through or rather shown a V-shaped recovery in the last 2 weeks. There was a period of extreme sideways consolidation, and that too happening at a time when the markets were getting extremely volatile and going through that sharp phase of correction. And then when you see the indices bounce back, Escorts manages to continue its uptrend. So I think that's a very strong bullish setup on the daily as well as on the weekly time frame, and I believe the stock should be heading towards the swing breakout. I would suggest a buy at current levels, targets of 740, and stop loss could be kept at 680.
All right, a compelling buy at the current levels. Watch out for the stock. Let's move right on then, and Sun Pharma is in focus today. A relief coming in, Vivek.
Well, that's right. Now, this particular case is actually related to one of Sun Pharma's subsidiaries. This subsidiary is based in the US. It's called DUSA Pharma. And what has actually happened over here is that this particular company was fighting a patent infringement case against Biofrontera, and the main reason for this particular case was that Sun Pharma subsidiary believed that the company that was making the generic was actually infringing on the patent rights that Sun Pharma subsidiary held. So what actually happened yesterday was that the court actually went ahead and said that Sun Pharma's subsidiary is actually the winner, and it is the one that holds the patent. On the back of that, you're seeing a slight relief rally as far as Sun Pharma is concerned.
All right, keep an eye out. A relief coming in for in the patent case with respect to its arm in the US court. 415 and counting on Sun Pharma. Moving right on, let's pull up some of the telecom stocks like Bharti as well as Idea Cellular. Well, they're in focus in trade today as Motilal Oswal is pretty upbeat. They've got a buy rating on Idea with a target price at 43 rupees, and on Airtel as well, which is sulking in trade though. A buy with a target price of 380. In fact, they believe that the earnings pressure is going to persist, but revival is bleak, and that the high cash burn will lead to dilution and asset sales. So although they have a buy, they are talking about some concerns being flagged off within the telecom space. Moving right on then, it's a whole lot of PSU banks that we'll be chatting about on the show. So let's pull up OBC and Siddharth, which is active in trade today on the volume side.
Absolutely. So no action on price front, but we know that how these banks are performing of late. Avan, there is positive built up. Today, why I'm talking about OBC? Because already cash market volumes are substantially higher than the previous day volume. Previous day volume anyway was quite high. So that's warrant for attention, and 95 has been the resistance level, and around that resistance level stock is consolidating, and if these volumes are sell volumes, then stock should have corrected substantially, which is not the case. So keep close eye on OBC. If it moves substantially above, decisively above 95, then you know which direction it will go.
All right, there you have it. That's the take coming in on OBC, flattish in trade at 95. But nonetheless, as we said, hectic on the volumes. Moving right on then, let's pull up an IT stock as well in trade, given the way the currency is moving. And Sumit, let's have you run us through your technical take. Tech Mahindra at 708. How should one approach it? Okay, let's just get to that stock going in terms of what Sumit's recommendation is. It's a buy recommendation with a target price at 740 to 750. You've got a stop loss at 690, and some of these IT stocks are gaining in trade today. Tech Mahindra being one of them. Meantime, Tagar is show on Newsmaker today, Mubina.
That it is. This is after the company decided that it is going to sell about a 5.64% stake. This is going to be in a company called Simco, and this is going to be done via an OFS or an offer for sale. Do remember that this is something that had been in the works for some time. And of course, Tagar Wagon is a promoter company, so it's going to be 15.6 lakh shares that is going to be sold. The OFS floor price for Simco has been set at 38 rupees per share. It's at a discount to yesterday's closing price. So we are seeing distinguished moves in both these companies. While Tagar Wagon is gaining, Simco is one of the big losers today in trade.
Okay, that's certainly something to keep an eye out on. Tagar Wagons and both Simco are in focus. Meantime, SBI Life at number 8. Vivek, run us through what exactly the ET reports are suggesting.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting deal as and when it happens. Now, what's actually happening is that BNP Paribas, on the back of regulatory requirements, is expected to and is required to sell its stake and pare its stake by 10%. Now, what ET is reporting at this point of time is that PE investors, and this is going to be an SPV that is being formed by these PE investors, both Carlyle as well as Singapore-backed fund GIC, are expected to buy almost 10% stake at SBI Life Insurance, and the pricing, very interestingly, is set to be at a 10% discount to what was the current market price yesterday. So again, almost 50 rupees down from the current market price that you're seeing on your screen, and which is why, on the back of this particular block deal hangover, you're actually seeing SBI Life losing quite a bit in the session today.
Okay, watch out for SBI Life. That's the take coming in based on reports. Meantime, NTPC as well is in focus today, and last evening there was some news coming in with respect to approval for certain investments. And in fact, we understand that the investment has been approved for NTPC. This is for their Bilhor solar PV project, as well as for their Aurea solar PV project that has been given to the company. And in fact, this is for 140 megawatts as well as 20 megawatts capacity respectively. The stock though is at 144 in trade. Moving right on to number 10, and it's Infi as well, flexing its muscles, Siddharth.
Well, one need to understand that why IT stocks are going higher. Now, there was a reason for IT stock to come down, and that reason people started saying that probably, US would get into recession and spending would reduce. And you were seeing IT stocks correcting substantially, be it large cap and mid cap. And now the retail numbers which came out, the festive season numbers which have come out, suggest that there are no signs of slowdown, and that's the reason you are seeing a sentimental push in IT stocks. Now, this sentimental push in case of all the stock, and especially Infosys, is backed by strong volumes. Yesterday's trading session, there was bullish hammer pattern which got formed, which has positive implication. It got formed around 200 DMA, which is also positive. And today, after gap up opening, stock is sustaining at higher levels on strong volumes.
That's something to keep an eye out on. All of these IT stocks which are active in trade today. That's the F&O side of things. Moving right on then to NIIT Tech as well. And take us through where the stock is really headed, because in tandem with the rest of the pack, it's holding out quite well.
So, earlier, Avan, I think for major part of 2017 and 18, this was one of the top mid-cap performers in the Nifty IT space. Then there was this period where the stock corrected from 1400, 1450 levels to now almost 1050, 1100 mark. It was more of a retracement process because the stock has now come back to its 200 DMA. It's taking it some, a short-term time to consolidate at this average. The Bollinger Bands have narrowed significantly on short-term charts, and the stock is now heading towards a breakout on the upside. So this could be a good potential buy from current levels. Even on a positional basis, 1250 is the target which I am suggesting a buy with on NIIT Tech. Stop loss 1100.
Okay, keep an eye out. That's the take coming in at 1150 on NIIT Tech. Meantime, let's move right on and Mubina talk about India Bulls Housing Finance. What exactly transpired with the meet with the PM and NBFCs?
Well, yes, yesterday was the all-important meeting between delegates and representatives of the NBFC and housing finance companies rather. And, well, the Prime Minister seems to have promised of certain, certain measures that would aid in building confidence in the credit market once again. Remember, the delegation had pitched for a special liquidity window in the wake of the recent liquidity squeeze. Now, of course, at this point of time, there has been no clear-cut measures announced by the government, but certain representations made to the Prime Minister by NBFCs has been that the government should support measures to propel short-term growth in NBFCs as well as HFCs, should open more avenues for funding for NBFCs, and those NBFCs beyond a certain size should be allowed to convert into banks. Early days, just representations made, but yes, we are seeing banking and financial stocks reacting. They are higher to the increase.
Oh yes, indeed. That's the take coming in with respect to what culminated at the meet. Well, let's keep it with stocks that are active in trade today. And there's L&T as well that's on the radar. And Vivek, let's talk about the order win.
Some order win cheer coming in as far as L&T is concerned. Now what's actually happened is the construction arm has won orders over the period of December, and the order size of the orders is almost worth over 2,350 crore rupees. So not too big, but it's reasonably large size as far as the construction business is concerned. And the other one, if you're talking about the water and effluent treatment business, again they've also got a reasonably big size order win, almost a order win over 1,000 crore rupees. On the back of that, L&T, it started off in the green, but it has cooled off as the day progresses.
All right, that's the view coming in, certainly tempered off at about 14.19. But tell you what, on that note, we'll take a quick break right here on the show. Do stay with us. We've got lots more lined up on the other side of Market Fatafat. Welcome back. This is Market Fatafat. Let's take you through all of the stocks to watch out for in trade. So we're done with 13. Let's move right on to number 14. And a lot of the pharma stocks are in focus, particularly Cadila. In fact, it has received the tentative US FDA approval. This is for Febuzoxat, and this is used for reducing the production of uric acid in the body. The stock is started off on a fairly strong note and is holding on to that trajectory. 340 on last count, up 1/3%. Meantime, it's Tata Elxsi as well. And where exactly are we seeing the stock headed, Siddharth? What are the F&O observations?
So here too, unlike like other IT companies, we are seeing strong momentum. 950, 960, that's a very strong support one, and stock is bouncing from those levels. We are also seeing formation of long position. And just like other IT companies, we have seen very high volumes in cash market. So parameters are same, name is different, sector remains the same. All IT stocks are doing well, and so is Tata Elxsi.
All right, that's something to take note of. That's Tata Elxsi up 2%. Meantime, let's also talk about GAIL India, and that stock in focus today as it's moved quite steadily from 353. Sumit, you believe that now is a good time to enter?
Yeah, GAIL is a good stock. One can initiate long positions in GAIL at the current market price. In last 3 days, we have seen that the stock has given a smart bounce back from lower levels. Immediately, it has resistance at around 360 levels. Once the stock is able to break 360 levels on closing basis, then there is a possibility that we might see a move till 370 or 380 levels in next couple of days. So for a trading perspective, one can initiate long positions in GAIL with a stop loss to be placed at 350 levels on lower side, for the upside target of 370 and 380 levels in next couple of days.
All right, there you have it. That's the take coming in on GAIL India. Let's shift gears then and pull up Gujarat Gas as well, and this is on the brokerage radar. Take us through, Mubina, what exactly Equirus has to say.
Well, recently they did come out with a brokerage note where they upgraded their stance from reduce to add, and ever since then margin tailwinds have only grown stronger amid falling oil prices, rupee stability. Now, while of course the oil price decline may make liquid fuels attractive to some industrial users and affect industrial volume growth, according to them, the stock price is unlikely to see the kind of correction they witnessed during the last oil price softening cycle. And this one has always been expensive compared to peers, despite the poor and volatile earnings, partly due to investor expectations as well, on the back of the long-term volume growth, as well as, of course, margin recovery potential. But, Equirus expects this company to deliver on both ends, and hence you are seeing this uptick come by in the stock price.
All right, that's indeed the take coming in from Equirus, 1% higher on the stock. Moving on, let's pull up Shanthi Gears as well, and the buyback news is what's keeping the stock in focus today. Vivek.
Well, that's right. It's an industrial gears company. It's from the Murugappa group, but it's one stock that's not discussed too often. The company has a history of very strong dividends as well as, regular buybacks. So what's actually happened yesterday is that the company has received a nod for a buyback of almost 50 lakh shares, and the buyback has been approved at a price of almost 140 rupees a share. So reasonable premium to what the current market price of the stock is. No wonder if you're looking at the stock, up almost 1% in the session today.
Oh yes, indeed. That's where the stock is currently trading at. Well, MAN Industries is another one that's in focus, but not for the right reasons, as the market regulator SEBI has slapped a penalty of 10 crore rupees. This is on the 3 promoters of MAN Industries for failing to make an open offer to the company's shareholders. In fact, the regulator conducted a probe into the shareholding during June to September of 2010, observing that the promoters increased the shareholding from 51.2 to 55.1 due to the acquisition of shares in the open market as well as conversion of warrants. And it is mandatory for them to make an open offer, but that was not adhered to. So that's the latest coming in on MAN Industries. Let's move away from that and discuss another mid-cap counter, Tata Chemicals, and looks like it's in consolidation mode, Siddharth.
Well, yes, it is consolidating around its 200 DMA. It has, its near-term resistance around 720, 725 zone. But the reason for, identifying the stock and talking in this segment is what's happening in volume segment. Already, within 2.5-3 hours, cash volumes have surpassed 1 week, or they are at 1 week high. Last time you saw such volumes was 1 week before, and you have more than 50% of trading session left in today's trading today. So clearly there is some activity happening. Watch out for that resistance zone of 720, 725. If stock moves above that level, then you can see fresh formation of long positions.
All right, watch out for Tata Chemicals. 720 to 725 is the near-term resistance. Meantime, let's pull up a stock that is in focus today, and that is REC, Kunal. But no doubt it has been a fairly choppy contender. So what's the take?
I think it's been more of a consistent performer, Avan, because the last 2 weeks, I think start of December or end of November somewhere, the stock bottomed out at closer to 100 mark. Then it's gone through a steady uptrend. Post that, it's broken the 200 moving average yesterday, and we discussed the stock even yesterday as well. It's moved up another 2.5% higher from yesterday's closing as well. So I believe that the stock is into very steady uptrend, and there could be more traction on the upside. 122 is now the revised target on short-term basis for REC Limited. Stop loss to be kept at 114.
All right, there you have it. Buy for a revised target of 122, 2.5% nearly on REC. Meantime, BPCL Mubina is in focus. Crude oil is the big headline, bouncing after that steep slide.
We have been seeing a lot of correlation between the way OMCs and Brent prices move. Unsurprisingly, after that bounce that we saw in Brent prices, an 8% uptick coming by after a 6% decline on Monday, today the concomitant impact is very well witnessed on a BPCL, HPCL, IOC, which are among your top losers. So BPCL is losing 1.9% on seeing Brent go back about $54 per barrel, and that's the case witnessed across OMCs, even for that matter all crude consumers, which are today finding themselves at the bottom of the losers list.
Okay, there you have it. That's the correlation really we're talking about between crude and some of the OMCs. Moving on to number 23, and let's pull up Strides. That stock is in focus, although it's not quite obliging. It has been some positive news, Vivek.
Well, that's right. The company has received the US FDA approval for a particular drug that is used to treat colonoscopy, and it's it's a reasonably large size drug. But why the street is not cheering it is because Strides is not the first player and doesn't get the 180-day exclusivity. Rather, it's the third player to get the approval, and which is why there's been a very tempered reaction as far as Strides is concerned.
Right, it is, and that Strides for you at 458. Meantime, IEX, that is the Indian Energy Exchange, is currently quoting at 166, although it's quite quiet in trade today. The board has cleared the proposal to buy back the shares Now, and at a maximum price of about 185 rupees per share. This is close to 37 lakh shares, and this is going to aggregate to close to 69 crore rupees, and they represent nearly 1.323% of the total paid up equity shares of the company. That's IEX in news. Some more banks then that we need to flag off, and at number 25, so that's it's IndusInd Bank.
Well, price action is positive, and there is a huge pile-up of position, around 25% built up in today's trading session. Stock is very near to its resistance, or it has strong resistance around 1650 odd level. So watch out for that level. Main reason for highlighting is the built-up. It's an expiry day. We are seeing a up move taking place. I won't be surprised if on say last half an hour or in last half an hour, 45 minutes, stock surges further towards that resistance level.
Okay, important to note, those are some important levels on IndusInd Bank. And SRF is another stock from the mid-cap space that merits a mention right now. At 2,000 rupees, Sumit, you believe that it's a compelling buy?
Well, after a sharp sell-off, it seems that the stock has taken support of 200 DMA at lower levels. Yesterday, the candle has made a doji, that is a indecisive candle, but today we have seen that it has broken the highs of doji candle. So that is again a positive sign for the stock. I think immediately a closing over 2000 will take stock prices to 2050, 2070 levels. Those who have taken long positions at lower levels, they can hold on the existing long positions, and one can initiate fresh long positions at the current market price with the stop loss to be placed at 1960 on lower side for the upside target of 2050 and 2070 in next couple of days.
Watch out, that's the latest coming in on SRF. Sumit believes that it's a buy with a target of 2050 to 2070. But with that, that's all the time we have right here on the show. So we'll wind it down on Market Fatafat. Thanks much for watching.